a few speeches like this before that the best thing is actually to be incredibly short and to the point. So that's exactly what I'm going to be. I think when I came to the BCSE, I think that we probably described ourselves as web sort of 0.5 as opposed to web 2.0. And so I've taken time on this kind of journey, but actually the critical thing for us in terms of the launch of the Centre for School Design is this fusion between these different worlds, between education, between design and the built environment. And at its heart is the use of new technology. And actually what's innovative, I think, about what we're doing is not necessarily the most unbelievable website that we could produce, is actually how we're using it and the different tools that we're using. Right at the heart of the premise of the Centre for School Design are some kind of key issues which I just want to share with you just briefly. Firstly, we think, and we're describing it as the first think tank for the post-bureaucratic age. And for those people who are, it's kind of quite an ambitious kind of statement, but for those people who aren't kind of familiar with this phrase, it's being used kind of quite a lot at the moment to talk about the way in which policy making, politics and government are working in completely different ways. So bottom up as opposed to top down. You know, a much more collaborative engagement with policies, politics, and how you actually do decision making on the ground. And we want to position ourselves as a think tank that's actually doing something very, very different from other organisations out there. And actually, if you scan around at the moment, there aren't many think tanks talking about education in a really meaningful way that connects with people on the ground. I never used to say this actually. Like, as a former teacher, I don't think I ever wanted to turn around and pick up a policy pamphlet from someone who was pouring ideas at the top and somehow they'd filter down to the bottom. What we're trying to do with the Centre for School Design is to make it real-time engagement with people across the system and really make a massive difference. So we want to try and rethink policy, we want to rethink practice, and across those three areas, education, policy, design and the school environment. And also we're using new tools, trying to collaborate with different partners and actually get different kind of research going as well. So Ty mentioned an interesting project that we've got going. We're also looking at actually collaborating with other think tanks, other organisations to make a real difference. That's all I really want to say, because actually we've got three fantastic people who've really inspired us to start up the Centre for School Design, and I know time is running short for all of them, so I just want to just very, very briefly introduce three fantastic people who just spent a couple of minutes each talking about their take on the landscape that we're just about to launch into, and then I can let you off into and having drinks and networking and so on. The first person is Baroness Estelle Morris, who's been the chair of our inquiry and commission over the last year, an inspirational Secretary of State for Education, and has done some fantastic work for us as well. Secondly, Stephen Bailey, who, if you sense the kind of movement of time and how quickly we're moving, at the start of the session he was the architecture and design correspondent for the Observer, and he came in and said, actually, I'm the correspondent for the Times. So things move pretty quickly. So what we're trying to do is bring those people together. And finally, somebody else who's inspired us is Steve Moore, who works for an organisation called Policy Unplugged. He's an advisor to Channel 4, and he's just set up his own social media company in the last few weeks. So we've got three fantastic people to give us some more inspiration and ideas about what it is we're trying to do as part of the Centre for School Design. Thank you.